Have you ever felt like you're constantly chasing after advice, books, podcasts, and videos, yet still feeling like something's missing? You're not alone. In today's world, we're surrounded by endless information. We have motivational quotes saved on our phones, self-help books stacked on our shelves, and endless YouTube playlists on personal growth. But despite all of that, many of us still struggle to feel truly at peace or fulfilled. Why is that? Today, I want to share a Buddhist story with a life-changing insight. It's called The Finger Pointing at the Moon. This story has been told in Zen temples for centuries, and it carries a message that can change your perspective on personal growth, success, and even happiness. Here's the big question. Why do so many of us fall into the trap of endlessly seeking more advice, more tips, more hacks, but rarely feel like we're living the life we want? What if the issue isn't that we lack teachings, but that we cling too tightly to the teachings themselves? The story I'm about to tell you cracks open that mystery. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with Point 1. A clear understanding of why words and teachings can only point you in the right direction, but can never take you there. Point 2. A realization of why chasing endless wisdom can hold you back. Point 3. And most importantly, a simple shift you can make today to stop getting stuck in intellectual knowledge and start experiencing real transformation. But before we jump into the story, I want you to pause and reflect on something. Think back to a moment when you deeply understood something, not just as an idea, but as a living truth inside you. Maybe it was the moment you realized the power of forgiveness, not just because someone told you, but because you felt it in your bones. Or the moment you understood what love truly means beyond all the romantic movies or songs. That's the kind of transformation we're talking about here. So stay with me, because once you hear the story of the finger pointing at the moon, you may never look at your spiritual journey, or even your daily life the same way again. Once a Zen master gathered his students under a clear night sky. The moon hung bright and full above them, casting silver light over the temple grounds. The master raised his hand and pointed toward the moon. "Look," he said softly, "the moon." One eager student jumped up. "Yes, master, the moon is so beautiful tonight." But another student wasn't sure. He looked at the master's finger, focusing hard on every detail. The shape of his fingernail, the wrinkles of his skin, the angle of his arm. He asked, "Master, why do you point like that? Should I study the gesture, the finger, the hand?" The master smiled. No, he said. "Don't look at the finger. If you look at the finger, you miss the moon." This simple moment carries a profound lesson. The Zen master's finger is like every teaching, every book, every piece of advice we encounter in life. The moon is the direct experience, the truth we are meant to realize for ourselves. Many of us spend our lives studying the finger. We memorize quotes, we debate philosophies, we analyze every word of a book or every detail of a teaching, but in doing so, we often miss the point, the moon itself, the living experience of truth. For example, think about love. You can read 1,000 poems about love, watch endless romantic movies, and hear countless definitions. But until you love and are loved, until you feel it with your whole being, you haven't truly understood it. The same goes for compassion, mindfulness, forgiveness, or inner peace. The teachings are only pointers, maps, guides. They help steer us in the right direction. But the journey, the discovery, the experience, that's something no one else can walk for us. The master's smile was not just gentle. It was an invitation. Stop being distracted by the finger. Turn your eyes toward the moon. It's a reminder that the most profound truths in life are not captured by words or teachings. They are lived, felt, and directly realized. And once you glimpse the moon, you'll never mistake the finger for the truth again. So what does this story mean for us today? At first glance, the finger pointing at the moon seems like a simple reminder not to get distracted. But its real message runs much deeper. It challenges how we approach learning, growth, and even spirituality. The finger in the story represents all the external things we rely on: teachings, advice, mentors, books, videos, and podcasts. These are valuable. They guide us, inspire us, and help us understand new ideas. but they are only signposts. They're not the destination. The moon represents direct experience, the real life, felt understanding that no book or teacher can fully give you. It's the aha moment when something shifts inside you, when you stop just knowing something intellectually and live it. Here's why this matters. Many of us get stuck collecting knowledge. We watch endless motivational videos, read self-help books, take courses, and listen to gurus. But we rarely pause to apply what we learn in real life. We fall into what's often called spiritual entertainment. It feels good, it sounds wise, but it doesn't transform us. For example, you might watch videos about mindfulness, but never actually sit quietly for 5 minutes to notice your breath. You might read about compassion, but never challenge yourself to forgive someone who's hurt you. Or you might study happiness hacks, but never put down your phone and fully engage with the present moment. The danger is mistaking the map for the territory, the recipe for the meal, or the finger for the moon. The story invites us to make a shift. Stop just consuming ideas, start living them. Move from thinking to experiencing. Because real growth doesn't come from what you know. It comes from what you do, feel, and embody. When we understand this, we free ourselves from the endless loop of seeking and start stepping into real transformation. We begin to taste life directly, without needing to cling to explanations or labels, and that's where the real magic happens. So how can you apply the lesson of the finger pointing at the moon in your everyday life? The first step is to pause and notice when you're stuck in finger mode. Ask yourself, am I collecting more information, or am I living what I already know? For example, if you're reading about mindfulness, are you practicing it, even for 5 minutes a day? If you're learning about compassion, are you offering it to someone in your life today? Here's a simple practice. Pick one idea you've been drawn to lately. Maybe it's patience, gratitude, mindfulness, forgiveness, anything. Instead of reading more about it, challenge yourself to practice it for just one day. If it's gratitude, spend a few minutes thanking someone or writing down what you appreciate. If it's mindfulness, put your phone away during a meal and fully experience each bite. The key is to shift from intellectual understanding to embodied action. Knowledge without action is like staring at a map without ever traveling. Second, become comfortable with not knowing everything. We often cling to teachings because uncertainty feels uncomfortable, but real growth happens when we step into the unknown and learn directly from life. When a challenge comes up, instead of racing to find advice or reassurance, pause. Be with the experience. Trust that wisdom will arise from within, not just from outside sources. Third, simplify your spiritual or personal growth journey. You don't need 10 books, 5 teachers, and 20 podcasts to change your life. Sometimes the simplest practices, repeated consistently, create the deepest transformation. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can commit to practicing daily without overcomplicating it? Finally, remember that teachings are tools, not trophies. You don't need to prove how much you know. The people who make the biggest impact often speak less and live more. Focus on embodying the values you admire and let your actions speak for themselves. By turning your gaze from the finger to the moon, from words to experience, you open the door to a deeper, more authentic life. And the beauty is, you don't need to wait. You can start today. So, what's the big takeaway from the story of the finger pointing at the moon? It's simple, yet powerful. Don't confuse the teaching with the truth. Don't mistake the words for the experience. And don't spend your life staring at the finger, missing the moon. The world we live in today is overflowing with wisdom. You can find a quote for every mood, a video for every question, and a book for every life challenge. But none of that will change your life unless you live the message. The Zen master wasn't dismissing the importance of teachings. He was showing us their real purpose, to point us towards something bigger, something we can only discover on our own. When you stop clinging to the words, when you loosen your grip on needing more and more knowledge, you create space. And in that space, you allow real experience to emerge. Imagine what would shift in your life if you stopped overthinking and started embodying. What if you put down the next book and simply practiced gratitude today? What if you paused the next podcast and sat quietly with your breath? What if you let go of needing to know more and allowed yourself to be more? That's the heart of this story. An invitation to move from mind to heart, from words to experience, from seeking to living. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to take one small action today. Choose one teaching that has been meaningful to you and practice it. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Even if it's just for 5 minutes. And if you want more stories like this to inspire and challenge you on your journey, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who needs a little wisdom in their life. Thank you for watching, Farit, and remember, keep your eyes on the moon.